Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. This is 31 Days, 31 Facts in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this is day number 6. And we're going to talk about what is survivorship. Let me recognize my sponsor for today, who is Emmanuel Church of God in Christ with Pastor Michael Richardson, and they are located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago. And they have a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emmanuel Kojic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Warriors Talk is getting ready to have our 6th annual Survivors Night of Reflection Gala taking place on Saturday, October the 22nd, for 12 p.m. that is to 4 p.m. It's going to be located at the Crystal Sky Banquet Hall at 7941 West 47th Street in McCook, Illinois, which is not that far from Chicago, people. If you are a survivor, you are free. You don't have to pay, but you must register because I need to get a head count on all of survivors who are going to be there that night. And you can go to Eventbrite and type in Survivors Night of Reflection Gala so that you can register for the event. If you are a non-survivor, your cost is $40 because we have to pay for the venue, we have to pay for awards, and we also are going to award a recipient who is in battle that night. That's one of the awards that we're going to give out. So if you want to be a sponsor, we have 3 different sponsorship packages. We have the silver sponsor for $100, the gold sponsor for $250, and then the event sponsor for $750. The event sponsor includes the 6 months of advertisement on the Warriors Talk platforms, all across the Warrior Talk platforms. Also, you get to be a guest on the show. You get to speak at the event. You get to have a table where you can display your products, merchandise, whatever it is that you have. And you get to talk to individuals about your organization or your product. You have a table of 8. Everybody from the table has the ticket to get to the event, as well as a swag bag and a free gift. So that's just some of the things that come along with the event sponsorship. We have vendor tables available for $50. So if you want to display some of your merchandise or products, you can get a vendor table for $50. That also includes the food that we're going to be eating for that day as well. We are going to award a Survivor of the Year Community Service Award, which is also a survivor, and a caregiver, which is our newest award this year. We really sometimes don't recognize the caregivers who take care of the individuals with cancer. So we're going to recognize an individual who's a caregiver. If you know anybody who is a caregiver or who is out in the community spreading awareness, who is a survivor of the year, or who is just out there blazing the trails, spreading that awareness and early detection and family history and just hands-on with the community, you can email me a couple of sentences about that person with their name at warriorstalk1@gmail.com, and we will give awards out that night. So I'm looking for all survivors. Meet me there. We're going to have an amazing time. God always shows up and shows out for Warriors Talk, and for that I am grateful. Tonight, again, this is day 6, y'all, day 6, and we're going to be talking about what is cancer survivorship. When you think about cancer, you hear the word survivor, like what does all of that entails? Do me a favor, Before we get into the conversation, like the show, share the show, invite somebody else in on this show that you feel would benefit from this valuable information. So, what is cancer survivorship? It is a person who has had a cancer diagnosis. They are oftentimes called cancer survivors. As soon as you hear anything about somebody having cancer, just know that they are a cancer survivor. It says when people talk about cancer survivorship, they are usually referring to people that are navigating through life and experiences as a result of, you know, them having cancer. So they're trying to, figure out this thing now that I have cancer. How is my life going to be moving forward? What am I doing right now in the present as a survivor? So, who is a cancer survivor? When you hear the word survivor, who do you think about? Who do you feel like is a survivor when it comes to cancer? Well, they say the phrase cancer survivor, it can mean different things to different people. So often people don't like to be called cancer survivors, especially if you are a stage 4. A lot of people who are stage 4, hi my Leah, thank you, I appreciate it. A lot of people who are, have stage 4 cancer, they don't like to be called survivors, right? A lot of times they like to be called thrivers, or warriors or conquerors, but the survivor, they don't, because they feel like, they're still in the battle, they're still fighting. So a lot of times they don't like to be called that. But whatever it is that they want to be called, I would say just call them that. You won't be wrong for calling them what they want to be called if they don't want to be called a survivor. So again, who is a survivor? A survivor is anyone who has been diagnosed with cancer, right? From the date of your diagnosis, as soon as the doctor said you have cancer, from that day, you are known as a survivor. Even though you still have to go through treatment, surgery, everything, just from the date of diagnosis, you count your survivorship. And that's how it is. I know it could be confusing with some people. They may say, oh, well, maybe it was when I got out of treatment, maybe it was when I was done with surgery, when they took the rest of the cancer out. Nope. It's when the doctor gave you your diagnosis. For me, my diagnosis was given on December 18th, 2013. And I believe it was like around 2:30 in the afternoon. It's crazy that I remember that, right? So not everyone, like I said, they don't use the word cancer survivor. A lot of people don't like to use it. And a lot of people feel like if you call them a cancer survivor and they're still in treatment, sometimes people get offended. I've had people get offended and say, oh, I'm not a cancer survivor, and they're like, I'm a thriver, or, I'm a warrior, or, I'm still fighting. And that's fine. It's okay to be still fighting, right? It's okay to be still fighting and still be called a survivor. But again, call them whatever they want to be called. So, how many cancer survivors are there in the United States? Take a guess. It's a lot of us. It's a lot of us. It's 18 million people living with a history of cancer in the United States. And that's just in the United States, not worldwide. Just in the United States, there's 18 million people living with a history. That's people who are in treatment, out of treatment, people who have long-term treatment. They have advanced cancers to where they have to be, monitored for the rest of their lives. 18 million of us in the United States. Back in 1971, there were only 3 million cancer survivors. Only 3. So you see, we have come a long way when it comes to cancer and us surviving this thing. Cancer is no longer a death sentence. Cancer is a chapter in your life, and you don't have to stop there when you get a cancer diagnosis. I always say, cancer is not a death sentence, but it's an awakening to live your best life. You should be living your best life after a cancer diagnosis. Should not be living the same. You should not be living dormant. You should not just be existing. You should not be living to die, but you should be dying to live. So about 67% of cancer survivors have survived more than 5 years after their diagnosis. That seemed kind of low to me, though. Only 67%. You know, when you are diagnosed with cancer, they don't consider you cancer free until you get to the 5 years. They'll send you like this little, I don't know if they still do it, like this little coin that'll say, you know, your 5 years. The American Cancer Society used to do it. So if you haven't reached that 5 years, they're not considering you out of the woods, right? Because within that 5 years, that's when the cancer is most likely to come back. So about 67% of survivors have survived more than 5 years, and only 18% of cancer survivors have survived more than 20 years. And I know this sounds really low because I know a lot of cancer survivors I have encountered over since I've been diagnosed who have more than 20 years survivorship, more than 20 years survivorship. So why are there more cancer survivors? Why? Why do you think that more people are surviving cancer? More people are living longer. More people are living longer with cancer. Those who are in stage 4, at one point it was a death sentence. Now these individuals are living longer lives. You look at them, you can't even tell that they have cancer. Well, they are contributed to screening. Screening, early detection is catching cancers earlier when it's most treatable, right? When you get a mammogram, they're not looking for a lump. They're looking to catch the cancer before you have any symptoms or any signs. That's really what the mammogram is for, before you have any symptoms and any signs. When you have symptoms or signs, that's when you go to the diagnostic mammogram. So now they can break it down and say, okay, let's dive deep and see what's going on in here. So like the screening is like for a mammogram, you want to catch the cancer early, like a colonoscopy. If they go in and you have polyps, they can remove those polyps out of there. If you have no polyps, they tell you come back in 10 years. If you have polyps, they may say come back in 3 years or 2 years. So, but you have to go in to get those tests done. You have to take advantage of the screenings that they have for early detection in order for you to benefit from early detection. Being a cancer survivor, what do you expect, right? What do you expect to come along with this cancer journey? The word cancer is heavy. It's heavy, right? Don't let it be heavy. Don't let it take over your life. Don't allow it to rule you, right? I always call it the little C, and Christ is the big C, right? Cancer is the little C. So what to expect when you are a cancer survivor, when you're going through cancer survivorship? One of the things is when you're done with treatment, you feel a sense of relief, joy, you're just excited because you have fought this thing and you survived. You're on the other side. Now your hair is growing back. You got your appetite, your weight up, so you feel like you really have accomplished something. You really feel like a warrior who has been on the battlefield and won. You feel like a conqueror. So that's one thing that you can expect after a cancer, with your cancer survivorship. Another one is having changes psychologically, right? And I always say, if you're in treatment, from the day they tell you that you're diagnosed, you should be seeing somebody, a counselor or somebody, right? They're 9 times out of 10, they're not going to offer it. They didn't offer it for me. I've never been to a counselor to receive any help. Thank God that I didn't need it. But for those who do, your needs change, right? You have this anxiety, this overwhelming anxiety when you have to go to these doctor's appointments, when the doctor call you, right? And even when you lose body parts, right? Your old life, you grieve that. You go through the 5 stages of grief when you go through cancer, right? A lot of people walk out with PSTD when they go through cancer. They have this post-traumatic syndrome because of what they went through. And then you have these images when it comes to your body. You feel like, oh my God, am I not sexy anymore? They don't cut off my breasts. I don't feel like a woman. I lost my hair. I don't feel cute. I don't have no eyebrows, like cancer can really put a damper on your self-esteem. It can really have you thinking that you are just the lowest of the low, that you are horrible, you are hideous. But I am a witness. I am a witness. God has left me here to be a witness, to say, yes, some chemo will make your hair fall out, but as you can see, my locks are long. My locks are long. I lost my eyebrows, and granted, they haven't grown in fully, but I have some, right? I lost my eyelashes. My nails came off. Some of them just turned dark. I got down really, I lost a lot of weight because I couldn't eat, couldn't taste my food, right? So your self-image when it comes to your body, because people look at you and they'll look at you with this pity thing, like, are you all right? You look like you're just losing weight. You all right? My sister died the other day from cancer. Have you feeling just horrible. But like my doctor told me, because I was so concerned with my hair loss, I was so concerned with my nails, and she said, this is all cosmetic. It's all cosmetics. When you're done and you're out of treatment, those things will come back. So don't worry about that. You worry about getting through treatment. I was like, okay. She checked me real quick, real fast, because I was just like, what is this y'all putting in my body? When you're a cancer survivor and you're going through survivorship, you have this uncertainty about the future. You like, am I gonna make it? What is my future gonna be? What is it gonna be like now that I have went through this cancer diagnosis? What is my future gonna be? What is it gonna look like? How are people gonna look at me? When you're at work, is people gonna treat me different? Is people gonna treat me like a weakling, like I can't do anything? What is that gonna look like? All of that can sometimes be, it could be some uncertainties because you feel like you may not make it because of what you're going through. And it's normal. It's all normal. So don't beat yourself up about it, about being uncertain about the future. Even if you don't have a cancer diagnosis, you may be uncertain about the future. Don't allow it to overrule you. Another thing, survivorship, what we go through is this cancer coming back, right? We have known people to where they was, as they would say, in remission. I don't say remission, I say heal. So you've seen them out and about and they cancer free and they going about their life. And then next thing you know, you hear, girl, what happened to so-and-so? I ain't seen Shirley in a while. Girl, Shirley cancer came back and she died. You like, what? Oh my God. And then you start thinking like, is my cancer going to come back? But you can't live your life like that. You cannot live your life with this black cloud over your head. Somebody described the fear of cancer coming back as a loaded gun at the back of your head. And the person is pulling the trigger. And the person keeps pulling the trigger. It's one gun, one bullet in the gun. You just don't know when that bullet is going to hit you in the back of the head. So you just going about life. Sometimes you forget that the gun is back there pointing at your head. You get on with life. Something happens to, like, you find out somebody died of cancer and then you feel it and you're like, oh God. I encourage you not to live in fear. Do not allow fear to paralyze you, trap you, get you to pretend or thinking that these things are happening. If you feel like your cancer has come back, if you feel some type of way, go to the doctor, call your doctor. They can run tests and they'll be able to tell you if that is true. But don't live your life in fear. Don't live your life as a prisoner because of a cancer diagnosis. Some people may have a positive experience, right? They may have been bitter about life before, not wanting to be here. Their life may have been horrible. And now that they have had a cancer diagnosis, they are experiencing some positive things. They are growing on all different levels in their life. Some people take their cancer diagnosis and they do other things. They help other people, like Warriors Talk. I was like, I can't keep this to myself. I want to do something because I really don't want anybody to get a cancer diagnosis. If they get a cancer diagnosis, I want them to be equipped with all of the information that they need to be able to get through that cancer diagnosis, to be able to take charge of that cancer diagnosis. A lot of us have that survivor's guilt. And the survivor's guilt is, somebody else that has had cancer. Take my sister, for instance, my dad, for instance, and these people have passed. Especially if somebody fighting right along with you and you make it and they don't. You're like, why God didn't take me? Why God left me here? Why am I here? What was so special about me that I'm here and they're not? You do have that survivor's guilt. You do. You do. I don't care what you say, you do. It's a horrible feeling to be left with that. That is so not in your control. It's not in your control. We don't know why God does certain things. We don't know. We don't know if their purpose was already fulfilled and God said, okay, let's go. We don't know if they were just suffering and God said, my child, I don't want you to suffer like this. Let's go. We don't know. We just have to trust that God decisions that he's making is right. And that's all that you can do, is just to trust that his decisions is the best decision, and for whatever reason he takes a person, we don't know what that person may have been suffering with. We don't know. Some of us have these long-term effects as a result of cancer. I deal with neuropathy. I deal with lymphedema. Lymphedema is to where they took the lymph nodes out of my arm. So they took 16 lymph nodes out. One was positive for cancer, the size of a pencil lead. So they went around that lymph node and took every lymph node that was around it to test it, to make sure that it didn't get to the rest of those lymph nodes. So as a result of that, my arm, my lymphatic system, it doesn't work properly like it's supposed to drain. It doesn't. So I have to wear my sleeve, which I don't have it on right now. I'm supposed to wear it all the time, except for when I'm asleep. So I'm supposed to wear the sleeve so to keep the swelling down in my arm, right? You're not supposed to get your blood pressure on the arm. You're not supposed to get your blood drawn. So you have to make sure either wear a bracelet or just try to remember to tell them, hey, no, don't draw blood from this arm. Nope, can't do the blood pressure on this arm, because you don't want to aggravate it and have it be worse than what it is. Some people may have, when we talked about intimacy the other night, we did a part 1 and we did a part 2. So go to YouTube and be kind and rewind. Some people may have sexual health issues as a result of a cancer diagnosis. We talked about some women having vaginal dryness, pain. Talked about some men may have erectile dysfunction depending on, the type of cancer that they have. So some people may have issues, long-term issues, that they may be dealing with for the rest of their life because of a cancer diagnosis. Some people may have fertility issues that because when you was diagnosed with cancer, the doctor didn't say, hey, do you want to freeze your eggs? Do you want to freeze your eggs? Because we're about to put you through chemo and you may not be able to have no kids. So you might want to freeze these eggs so you can have. So some people may have those issues. And those things stick with you for the rest of your life. So there are changes in your family dynamic, your relationships, period, right? You may have some people that was really close to you before you got that cancer diagnosis, and now all of a sudden your circle changes because your need changes. The needs that you have in order to get through that cancer diagnosis, you need some people that are going to be able to meet that need. Sometimes people close to you, they're too emotional and they may not say the right thing. They may put more added stress on you to try to be strong because you don't want to look weak in front of them. So your circle may change, your family dynamic may change. And what I mean by family dynamic, you're the one that's always doing the cooking, the cleaning, you working, doing everything with the kids. And now you have this cancer diagnosis. You don't have the strength. You got this chemo and you don't have the strength to do any of that. You don't have surgery. You don't have the strength. So you're going to have to bring people in. I had my daughter, my Leah, doing stuff. I had my mom doing stuff. You may have to bring some other people in to do some things for you. So your family dynamics may change. Your friendships may change because you are going to be concentrating on fighting. You're going to be concentrating on healing and just having a peace of mind. So I mentioned before about remission, right? Really quickly. So some people, the doctor may say you are in remission. And remission just means that, say remission and NED is no evidence of disease, right? So the doctor may say, we don't see any evidence of disease. So if the doctor says that, 9 times out of 10, they probably won't say cured. They probably won't say that. So you may not ever hear that. But I remember when I was getting my chemo, the nurse had my chart, and on my chart it says treatment. It said treatment for the cure. So they was treating me to cure the disease versus just, maintenance or maintaining me with the medicine. So it says, but when it comes to cancer survivorship, NED, which is no evidence of disease, is also called complete remission. And to me, I say remission is you're waiting for that cancer to come back. You're just waiting. Okay, it's gonna come back. I don't know when. Right now, I'm just sitting. It means that the signs and symptoms of cancer is no longer found, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're cured, right? Cancer cells may be sitting, they may be still and just sitting in your body, and just the levels are not detected because they just decide, okay, we're gonna wait here. We don't feel like attacking her right now, just wait, and then for whatever reason they decide to wake up and come to life again. Yes. So what is your takeaway from cancer survivorship? What did you get out of this cancer survivorship? What does that mean for someone who has had cancer? It means that, number one, you don't allow a cancer diagnosis to stop you from living, right? You still live and do the things that you had in your mind that you were going to do. You may have to adjust your plan a little bit because of the cancer diagnosis. That's okay. That's okay. Do that. But don't allow a cancer diagnosis to stop you from living. Don't allow the survivor's guilt to put a halt in your plan, because God has individual plans for each of us. Your plan may not look like the next plan for someone who has cancer, right? So what the time that you have left, the time that God has granted you, the grace that God has given you to still be here, do something with that time. If you do something with just one person, you mentor one person going through cancer, do that. Share your testimony. Do that. One of your takeaways should be, I don't have to be a prisoner of my cancer diagnosis. I don't have to live in fear when it comes to my cancer diagnosis. And you don't have to live in fear. You don't. And if you don't want to use the word survivor, you don't have to use the word survivor. I used the word warrior. I like the word warrior, which was actually given to me by my daughter, my Leah. Use that word. Whatever you do, just keep living and making a difference in somebody else's life. You should be paying it forward to somebody else. It should not be all about you, especially if you have been through a cancer diagnosis and you came face to face with your own mortality, right? You're thinking about your legacy. What are you leaving? What type of legacy are you going to leave when you're no longer here? And it shouldn't be a selfish legacy. It should be a legacy of kindness, giving, sharing, whatever it is, gift that God has given to you. So if you're a cancer survivor, congratulations. Continue to keep on living. Continue to keep on living in the grace that God has granted you. I'm so grateful that you guys have tuned in. Again, this is day 6, and we talked about what is cancer survivorship. Again, this is going to be 31 days, 31 facts in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You guys, don't forget to go and register survivors for the event that's taking place on October 22nd. I want to see the survivors in the place. You don't have to pay any money. You just have to show up. It's free. Just show up, right? And then come out and support the survivors. This is a day of celebration for them, and we don't want them celebrating by themselves. So if you can't be there, donate. Just purchase a ticket, donate. The money is going to help a warrior in battle. So thank you so much for tuning in. I am Lady ReShell, author and founder of Warriors Talk, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.